Compass FM. Celine Donovan from Women's Refuge and Chris Hurring, our New Zealand Police Family Harm Officer based here in North Canterbury, join me at Compass FM. And a very good afternoon to you both.
Hi, John.
Good afternoon.
John, just letting you know, I'm here. I don't work for Women's Refuge anymore. I'm here on behalf of Violence Free North Canterbury.
Gotcha. Violence Free North Canterbury. Okay, I'll cross that off my notes here. Done. That's good, Celine.
No worries.
Just to point out, folks, we've got Chris and Celine on one phone, on speakerphone. I hope the quality's okay. Sounding good so far, guys. The first question I'd like to ask you both, what did you learn about family violence issues for families over lockdown last year? In other words, did family violence increase during lockdown?
Yeah, it did increase, John. We know that Women's Refuge reported that it increased by 20%, and that increase continued for some time. I think it was the same for police.
Yes, it was, and we also had an increase in high-risk cases across the board pretty much.
We know that the courts reported that protection order applications decreased 37%, and that's due to people's ability to access services to support those. People are continuing to tell us now that about abuse that occurred to them in lockdown last year, and some people saying that the violence increased in severity and frequency. People also have told us that they felt trapped and felt unable to leave because of lockdown restrictions. And people felt that services that they might need for their safety, such as safe housing, refuges, courts and lawyers, may not be operating, and therefore meaning that they were unable to get support. As well as that, we know that there was quite a few families who had separated where family violence had occurred, that actually lived together during lockdown to help out with the kids, and that violence occurred in some of those situations. We know that young people really struggled. And one really positive thing is that there was a lot more neighbours reporting during last lockdown, and that was really helpful.
Yeah, that's encouraging. And Chris, you mentioned that the severity of some of the violence has been greater during lockdown. What do you mean by that? Just how violent are some of these situations? Chris, are you allowed to tell us?
Probably just broadly speaking, we categorise our family harm episodes in low, medium or high risk. It's just that a percentage of high-risk cases, particularly in rural, had increased, and that gave us some concern around what was occurring within these homes. And we've seen some trends in that direction during the current lockdown as well, which is of concern to us.
I'm sure it is. And that brings us to the current situation. What are you finding is happening for people this time around? You know, what are the added pressures on families, Celine and Chris?
Some of it has already been reported in the media as it relates to financial issues and concerns for families. But it also comes back to the situation around families being cooped up together in homes and not having an out, if you like, and not being able to, in a way, children go to school, parents go to work, and then they come back together in the evening, whereas during lockdown they're cooped together 24/7, which puts the added stress on families. And when there is a trend of family harm within the homes, then that's exacerbated by the lockdown pressures.
And the other concern there is that there's no eyes on these families, because when people aren't going to work or to school, there's no outside eyes able to see any effects of that abuse. I have heard that people are saying that they're finding this lockdown more disruptive because some people are still dealing with the effects of the last lockdown. So it's placing more stress on families.
Well, that is very concerning. Celine, first and foremost from you, what can people do, anyone listening now, if they're feeling like lashing out while having to remain at home? So what advice would you have for perhaps the perpetrators of family violence?
Okay, a good question. And just thinking about what some people might be thinking about. They might be worrying that their partner or children might be afraid of them. They might feel suspicious or jealous of their partner's contact with other people. be worried about their own emotions and thoughts, including anger and the way that they react. They worry that children might see the fighting and arguing. They might worry that it might hurt someone in their family. They might want a better relationship to be free of the anger and abuse. And people may feel at the moment that there's no access to those services because of, but that's not the case. What we would suggest is placing some space between them and their family, going for a walk, phoning someone for support, taking a break. We've got some support lines that people can call, and I would suggest that people call Hey Bro. It's a very easy number to remember. It's just 0800 Hey Bro. That's a 24-hour line. And 0800 Aviva Now is also another support line that people can access 24/7.
For men.
Yes, just for men. Also a general one, and it's 1737. You can phone or text that number and speak to a counsellor at any time. And, of course, Lifeline is operating as well, and that's 800 543 354.
For anyone who's missing these phone numbers, maybe driving and can't get them down, Celine, is there somewhere people can go to access those phone numbers in a one-stop shop, as it were?
For someone using violence, I would go to, I would just search Hey Bro.
Yep.
And
Okay.
there'll be,
All right. And, that I guess you could say is a brave move. It takes a bit of courage perhaps to face up to the fact that what you're doing is totally wrong, but there is help available for the perpetrators of family violence. So if you're listening and you feel you need help, Hey Bro is the way to go. And what about for those listening now, Celine and Chris, that feel they are at risk of being harmed by someone at home? What help is available for them?
Widely stated by our politicians and other people of authority is that if anyone is feeling unsafe within their homes, that they can leave and breach the lockdown in a way, because it's the safety of them and their family comes first. And the Prime Minister and police representatives have repeatedly said that in an event of something happening now and it's emergency, then it's 111. We're still working, police are still operating, and we're still available to attend. And obviously also for victims of family harm, Refuge are available, and they can be contacted on 0800 Refuge. They still have safe houses operating for women and children to go and stay in safe houses. And like I said earlier, the number for Lifeline and other supports, 1737, is available as well. Courts are still operating at a much reduced capacity, but there is still the ability for people to get protection orders, and there's support for kids and youth through the Youthline, etc. as well. So there's plenty of support still available out there. It's about hopefully when they're feeling unsafe can actually access these services so we can help make them safe.
Yep, fantastic.
No, I would just reiterate that too, John, for Refuge, that if people are wondering what to do, give them a call, because they can actually access lots of different things. And if someone's feeling unsafe, we would just not want them to be dealing with that on their own. Just in regards to children and young people, we noticed last time that lots of young people found it difficult because they were not able to connect with their social supports and that kind of thing. And around family violence and abuse happening in the family, also stress for them. So we've got some numbers, but I think actually the easiest one to remember is just Youthline. And that's a 24/7 service. It also links to other services as well.
Yep. And that's a great service too, Celine. So, Youthline there. And for those who feel they need help, if you are a perpetrator or feel that you could be the perpetrator of family violence, Hey Bro is the way to go there. Chris Hurring is our New Zealand Police Family Harm Officer joining us there, and Celine Donovan. And Celine, just please repeat, which organisation are you with now? I didn't write it down.
I work for a different agency now, but I'm here on behalf of Violence Free North Canterbury.
Gotcha. Violence Free North Canterbury. Thanks so much to you both for joining us.
Compass FM.